I have my report card from 6th grade. I got C's in music. I auditioned for the choir in 8th grade and didn't make it. What I wanted to do in high school, I wanted to be a drummer. I just wanted to pound on stuff. I didn't know why, but all the songs that I danced to and stuff, it was like, it had that beat, you know? And that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to explore. I wanted to play drums and attract the chicks, you know, and all that. Yeah. One way or the other, I was on retreat as a senior in high school and had an experience at our own Jesuit novitiate in Minnesota, outside the town of St. Bonifacius, and just had this sense of, this is where I belong. And so eventually applied and joined the Jesuits in 1967. I was 17 for a week and then turned 18, so most of the guys in my class were that age. Young, immature, things like that, untested. My dad had gotten my brother and I a guitar for Christmas of my senior year, and I learned one song and stuff. But once I got to the novitiate, it was a 4-year place, 2 years novitiate, 2 years junior aid, and there were some great guitarists and musicians there. Dan Schuette's a year ahead of me. A buddy of mine, Greg Christoffel, who basically taught me guitar, was a year ahead of me. Bill Geiger was writing music. Schuette started writing music. We heard Foley's music, 2 songs come up from St. Louis. We learned from other guys from St. Louis that there were other people writing down there. It was great stuff. And I just wanted to play. It was a sense of I wanted to belong to something, you know. And so I learned to play. And then our class, we sold our building, the novitiate, and a whole bunch of us moved down to St. Louis. Some guys went to Creighton U, some went to Marquette. And I started playing this one guy from California province, Larry Whitlow. He had a 12-string. I'd never played a 12-string. I loved it. I just loved it. It was a whole new experience. So for Sunday liturgies, Schuette would play and or conduct. Let's say in 1971, the year after we got there, Tim Mannion showed up, Ralph Cacioppo played piano, Jim Knapp played bass, and then we had like 10 guys, 12 guys that sang harmonies like that. And then eventually some either lay people or nuns joined us, and we had a wonderful choir. So that was a huge experience. But the thing that stood out to me in those years was at John Kavanaugh, who had contributed some songs for Neither Silver Nor Gold, was ordained in 1971. And Foley came over to play a song, Communion or something like that. And he played with such authority. I just watched, I said, I've never heard anyone play like this. That's what I want to do. So now Foley and Bob Dufford were living in a community a block away, studying theology. Schuette and Mannion and I and these other guys, we were studying philosophy. We were like 4 or 5 years in or something like that. At the end of that time, February, March, April, May, Dan and I were going off to teach high school, which is the usual thing. It's called Regency for Jesuits. He was going to Pine Ridge to Red Cloud Indian School, and I was going to, with a couple other guys, to Rosebud Reservation to St. Francis Indian School to teach. And so Shooty and Dufford were saying, well, we should just collect these songs and put them together because we'll never see each other again, you know. So we did. We had, Foley did a recording session in the basement of our dorm. Shooty and Dufford arranged for a studio out kind of West County. It was in this guy's house. It was in the basement. It was a 2-track machine. And so he and I think Dufford was there, Mannion was there, and about 8 singers. And we stood in this basement for a week, and a week or 10 days, we recorded 37 songs.
Wow.
Because it was 2-track. I mean, you're not going to mess around. You can't do much to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so that was the deal, and that was going to be it. That summer, Ray Bruno and had started North American Liturgy Resources here. I think he was with Pollock, and he left and started his own company and contacted Dufford and Foley to see about publishing our stuff. Who knew? You know, we didn't. So John negotiated the contract, and Shooty typed and hand wrote all the music scores in 57 songs that whole summer. And so we went off to teach. Dufford was ordained. Dufford went off to teach high school math. In fact, he taught my brother Mike and opened up his eyes to being a really good mathematician. So it changed his life. Duff changed his life. Different crises. In the early 70s, a lot of my friends were leaving the society. And that continued for the next 8, 10 years, you know. Most of them left the Jesuits, and that was really sad. Dear people, some of whom I'm still in touch with, and it's like, oh. You know, and also over how many decades you fall in love a number of times, and it's a big question. Now what? You know, now what's the deal? And really, so far, I've been, I'll say it 2 ways. I'm still a Jesuit. I'll be 58 years in September, and 46 years ordained, you know. The other way to put it is, this is a theme throughout now, I didn't know how to relate to myself, much less anybody else. And that proved both problematic and was fine for so long, really. But over the decades, I'll put it that way, I remember I was living in Milwaukee about 10 years ago, and this guy in the community who was a world-class expert in Egyptian anthropology and first century languages, he said one night, he was talking about the survey he saw. He said, yeah, one side of the survey said, what do people in the parish value? And what do the people in the liturgy, or pardon me, in the parish staff value? And the parish staff was liturgy, education, formation, blah, 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 service. It was the total opposite for the people in the pew. And I was depressed for 2 days. I thought, this has all been crap. This has all been worthless. We haven't done a thing, you know? Mm. And who knows what, you know, our contributions to music and stuff. It, it's been what it's been, and it means something for different people.